This video was about a book, which is one of my favorite books in the world, called The Mathematical Corporation, available on Kindle. I first read this book back in 2018 when I was teaching data science at another college. And in this book, they talked about what would be happening with AI. At that point, AI was available, but it wasn't commercially available at the consumer level to everybody. It was available to big research science labs and so on. Anyway, this book talks about how artificial intelligence systems would enable human beings to amplify their creativity. The AI would offload the work of organizing and formatting data and leave humans free to look for connections. And there's an example here which I based a number of my courses on, and I advise you to go and buy that book. It's like $10 on Kindle. Go and buy it. It's like one coffee at Starbucks or something. But here they talk about the case study, which I used a number of times, about an airport which was having a problem that at certain times a number of their flights were delayed from departure. And they couldn't really find a correlative causation of why that was happening. So they used AI. They actually used something called IBM Watson, which is no longer in existence, but it was a AI system, sort of pre-ChatGPT, focused primarily on corporate business intelligence. And what they did, they uploaded everything: journals, log entries, spreadsheets, scheduling, journals from the front gate, right? The security guys who check people in and out of the airport. So all kinds of data, everything you could imagine, they uploaded it to Watson, and they asked the computer to find causations. Now, those of you who have studied SQL, and I see some from the student questionnaire, some of you have done, will understand that there are two main factors going on in SQL. You need to know the structure of the tables you're working with, and for a big corporation, it can take a couple of years. My wife works for Bank of Montreal, and it takes new people there about a year to totally learn all of those thousands of tables and fields. So you have to know the structure of the data, and you have to know what you're asking for. Whereas with an AI, you can ask the AI, tell me something important about this that I don't know. And how exactly the AI knows what you don't know is another question we'll get into later. And I've also advised you to buy Stephen Wolfram's book, What ChatGPT is Doing. Stephen Wolfram is one of the founders of the mathematical systems that enable AI to work. And he talks about that as well in chapter 4. So go and buy that book and read it too. But anyway, so these airport business analysts uploaded all this data to Watson, and they asked it to posit, to suggest, to recommend on why this problem could be happening. So the AI came back with an answer that no human being probably would have been able to put together. It determined that because the airport was near a couple of big highways, as all airports were, and when there was bad weather, that did not directly correlate to the plane's delay in departure. But when there were accidents on those highways, bad accidents requiring medical services and police and everybody to go there and fix it, here's what they found. You can buy the book and you can read the whole case study, but what they found is that when there were a big accident and there were a lot of police and ambulances and fire trucks, food services trucks, these trucks that sell coffee and sandwiches, they would go there to provide coffee and sandwiches to the rescue workers. And those trucks were no longer available at the airport, because normally those trucks would go to the airport and they would be parked by the pilot's hangar. So the pilot and the flight crews and the attendants and the fuel technicians, everybody who refills the plane and gets all the food and everything stocked, and the technicians who certify the plane is okay to fly before every flight. Normally those staff would go to the food services trucks and get their coffee and breakfast. But if the food services trucks were servicing the emergency workers who were taking care of this accident, the workers would not be able to get their breakfast and coffee from the truck. They would have to walk a further distance away to the cafeteria, and that was what caused the delay. Right? That's what Watson determined. It correlated all those different factors, thousands of data points that no human being would have been able to keep in mind. And that was the resolution of that problem. And then once the airport knew that, they could fix it, right? They contacted their food services vendor. They purchased another couple of trucks and just have them on permanent standby, just dedicated to the airport. So the pilots and support staff could get their breakfast and their coffee. And that solved the problem of planes being delayed. So anyway, go and buy this book and read it. If you take yourself seriously in this field, I think it's very important that you have these things to think about and talk about as we go through our course, as well as when you're on the job interview and they ask you to give some examples of how data science might be used. So anyway, that's my little bit of something I wanted to share with you right now. We will see you in class tomorrow.
Welcome, students, to your analytical mission. Data science isn't just about math. It's about becoming an analytical innovator who uses data to solve real, complex human problems. This slide defines our purpose in this course. It's a call to action. Let's start with a powerful example. Look at the example analysis, the complex workflow, on the left. This outlines a complex, real-world case study from the Mathematical Corporation. They faced a major problem: planes late departing. Standard solutions might just check for mechanical failures or simple pilot error, but a data scientist digs deeper. Using a system like IBM Watson as their predictive intelligence engine, they correlated thousands of seemingly unrelated data sources, from front gate logs and pilot attendance to regional weather and geographic risk factors. The breakthrough came from identifying a hidden pattern beyond the airport. A busy highway intersection near the airport was a critical factor. When a major traffic accident occurred, it triggered an emergency response that diverted food service trucks away from the tarmac to the accident scene. This resulted in tarmac food services reductions, meaning crucial flight crews, pilots, attendants, and technicians had to physically walk across the tarmac to the main cafeteria for breakfast. This walk delayed their critical certifications, directly causing planes late departing. Notice how the solution is innovative, not just mathematical. The Mathematical Corporation purchased additional catering trucks and deployed them on permanent standby, right beside the flight hangars, effectively bypassing the cafeteria walk. On-time certifications were restored, and departing delays were reduced. This whole process is data science. As the text below the diagram states, learning to perform this complete analytical workflow, from problem definition and data synthesis to innovative solution design, is the core of data science. This requires the skills to dissect complex problems, integrate diverse data, identify hidden patterns, and innovate effective solutions. On the right, we've laid out your specific objectives for this course, which you'll need to master to solve these kinds of challenges. First, 1. Learn to build EDA and analytical reports. You must master exploratory data analysis and comprehensive reporting. Second, 2. Master systematic problem solving. Apply structured, systematic analytical thinking. Third, 3. Develop statistical and predictive models. Build models to forecast outcomes and optimize complex systems, much like Watson's predictive role. And fourth, 4. Become a data-driven analyst. This is our final destination: the ability to create compelling reports that drive innovation, just like the one you see here. Your analytical mission is clear. Look at the banner at the bottom of the slide. You are here to master the art and science of analytical innovation. We will build the skills to dissect complexity and design better futures. Let's get started.